In a small village nestled between the towering mountains and thick forests, there lived a girl named Amara. Amara had dark skin and curly hair, and while her heart was as pure as gold, the villagers never took the time to see her beauty. Instead, they judged her for her complexion, and cruel whispers followed her wherever she went. Amara's best friend, however, was no ordinary companion. She had a tiger named Kavi, who was not only her friend but her protector. Kavi had been by Amara's side since she was a little girl, and together they formed an unbreakable bond. While the villagers were too quick to judge Amara, Kavi saw the goodness in her heart. One day, as Amara walked through the village market, carrying a basket of herbs she had gathered in the forest, she felt the familiar stares of the people. They muttered to each other, pointing at her as she passed by. Amara had grown used to their cruelty, but that day, something felt different. She could feel the eyes of the villagers more sharply, and it made her feel small, even though she was anything but small. Her heart sank when she heard someone from the crowd shout, "You don't belong here. You are nothing but trouble." Amara tried to ignore the words and kept walking, but deep down, the pain stung. As she passed the village gates, she saw the massive shadow of Kavi emerge from the forest. Kavi was her protector, a great tiger with golden fur and piercing eyes that glowed in the sunlight. Amara smiled as Kavi padded toward her, his giant paws thudding softly on the ground. "Do not let them hurt you, Amara." Kavi spoke in a deep, gentle voice only Amara could understand. "I know, Kavi, but their words still hurt," Amara replied softly. She reached up to stroke his fur, feeling comforted by his presence. Kavi nuzzled her and let out a soft growl, as though telling her that no one could ever harm her while he was by her side. Later that evening, as the moon rose over the village, a man named Jalen, who had recently moved to the village, approached Amara. Jalen had heard the villagers' harsh words about Amara and had come to believe the lies they had told. He was a man filled with anger and hatred, not just toward Amara, but toward the world. When he saw her walking alone, he decided to confront her, his heart filled with rage. "Amara," Jalen called out, his voice cold and full of venom. "You don't belong in this village. People like you are a curse. You're not welcome here." Amara stood still, her heart pounding. She had heard these words before, but they still hurt. Kavi, sensing the danger, growled low and crouched beside her, ready to protect her from harm. Jalen, though, didn't back down. His anger had clouded his judgment, and he stepped closer to Amara, raising a sharp stick he had found along the way. He shouted, "I will teach you a lesson." Before Jalen could strike, Kavi roared with a mighty sound that shook the ground beneath them. The force of Kavi's roar sent a wave of fear through Jalen, and for a moment he froze. Amara stepped forward and placed a hand on Kavi's side, urging him to stop. She knew Kavi would never harm anyone, but she also knew that Jalen needed to learn a lesson in kindness, not violence. "Jalen," Amara said, her voice calm but firm. "I know you're angry, but there's no reason for hate. I forgive you for your words, and I ask you to stop hurting others with your anger. My skin does not define me. It's the love and kindness in my heart that make me who I am." Jalen stood speechless. He could feel the sincerity in her words, but his heart was still heavy with hatred. He didn't know how to respond, so he lowered the stick slowly, his anger fading away in the presence of Amara's unwavering kindness. "You may not understand now, but one day you will," Amara continued. "The heart can change, just like the seasons change. I do not hate you, and I never will." Kavi sat down beside Amara, his golden eyes never leaving Jalen. For a moment, there was silence, the only sound being the rustling of the trees in the breeze. Jalen felt a strange weight lift off his chest, as though the words Amara spoke had softened something inside him. He slowly backed away, his anger now replaced with confusion. "I don't know what to say," Jalen murmured, turning to walk away. "One day, when you see with your heart, you'll understand," Amara called after him, her voice gentle. Days passed, and Amara continued to live her life with Kavi by her side. Jalen avoided her at first, unsure of what to think. But over time, he began to reflect on the words Amara had spoken. He saw how Kavi never once left her side, how the villagers who had once whispered in cruelty were now beginning to see Amara's heart, the true beauty within her. One afternoon, weeks later, Jalen returned to Amara. This time, he was no longer filled with anger. Instead, he was filled with remorse. He approached her with a humble heart and bowed low, something he had never done before. "Amara," he began, "I was wrong. I let my anger and hatred cloud my heart. I see now that you are not what I thought. You are a person of great courage and kindness. I apologize for my actions." Amara smiled warmly, her heart full of forgiveness. "Thank you, Jalen. It's never too late to change. I forgive you, and I hope you can forgive yourself." From that day forward, Jalen became one of Amara's greatest allies. He learned to see beyond the surface and to appreciate the true beauty of people, especially Amara, whose heart was as powerful as the tiger by her side. Lesson of the story: true beauty is not found in appearances, but in the kindness and love we show to others. It teaches us that even the hardest hearts can be softened with forgiveness and compassion, and that true courage lies in the ability to love, even when others do not.